You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hi, I'm Hedwig Kao, author of She Bites. You're watching The Experience.
Hey, happy New Comic Book Day.
What's going on, guys?
Kenneth Bird in the house. Preston's been in here. Marcus, what's going on, guys? So Alec, you missed our big show on Monday. And Weird, what's up, man? We had Mariano. He was doing.
I've been watching Ed Weird.
That's awesome.
He's having a good time. Ed Weird, his idea of a romantic dinner. Go find him on social media.
Did you just say you and Ed Weird had a romantic dinner?
No, I happen to know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. All right.
Amy walked in. That's the highlight of the show. It's all downhill from here.
So we had Mariano coloring sketch covers by him and Joe Del Beata. So that was pretty cool.
Sweet.
Amy came up with a great plan to use our iPad. Hey, Sheldon, what's up? Stevie B. So everybody could see Mariano while there was a third screen, so everybody could see Mariano coloring in the sketch covers. So that was pretty cool.
Well, it's a good thing because sometimes he naps. He dozes off. He naps in the work, and we got to get him on more covers and stuff.
He was bad mouthing you, boy.
He was not.
That
I
guy,
saw the
John.
video. I saw the video.
Well, you didn't watch it live.
No, I was doing stuff, man. That wasn't gonna happen.
This is your show too. Marcus says all dinners are romantic and intimate.
No, not me and Ed Weird, but Ed Weird posted a photo of his idea of a romantic dinner.
Okay.
And it's essentially food in like 2 halves of a styrofoam container. It's hysterical.
Triple B, what's going on? Okay. So the drinking game was a little slow on Monday, obviously.
The drinking game was slow
on
Monday.
Mariano didn't really get the rules. He only dropped a few names, but nowhere like, you're kind of B-52 carpet behind.
Well, Mariano's a name dropping himself, right? He's like a self-name drop. So every time he speaks, take a shot.
It's not like you haven't done it. Let's see, especially with spam. I refuse a Big Mac or McNuggets can be romantic. All right. So as everybody knows, the drinking game is every time that John drops the name of someone famous. Okay. And we have to establish the rules.
And it's a fun game.
His own name. Okay.
Well, I'm not famous.
Well, you've tried to pull that when dropping your own name. All right. So
I'll tell you who I was talking to. That was
wait.
Regional.
Everybody
famous.
run and go get your drink, whatever your drink of choice is. He's getting ready. He's warming up.
You'll have to
go ahead.
We'll have to get a ruling if a regional celebrity. I was a good friend of mine, a guy I did a couple radio shows with. I was talking to Ron Sullivan. He's from Philly Sports Radio.
Yeah, I know Ron Sullivan. That's just a beer, people. No, I'm kidding.
We were having a conversation about Samurai Sonia. So I'm kind of curious. I'm curious for the feedback. I haven't had a ton of Samurai Sonia feedback. I get the same thing all the time. We really like the covers. Well, it's Dynamite. That's kind of, I'm kind of wondering if people like the interior art, if people like the story. I put this out on Twitter before I went away, and I crickets.
Nothing. With all the famous people, that's hard to believe, John.
The only comment I got was from cosplayer Rachel Holland was wondering how her cover looked for Samurai Sonia. And like all of her cosplay covers, they look great.
Stevie B. Sorry I missed Monday's show. We had a good show, but I understand. I was at the doctor's. He was checking to see if the smile frozen on my face was Joker toxin or the Jets' amazing comeback. That was
insane.
There were a lot of them, dude. Tua in Miami. That was one hell.
That was good too.
Lyle Hobson, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us, buddy. But as in typical fashion, I'm sure Alec is also very happy along with me. Jalen Hurts is starting to make.
He looked incredible.
Yeah, and my main concern was too much dependency on his legs, and he was putting it up in the air as well. I think they finally got the tools around him that could happen. The defense looked good. Kirk Cousins played yes, and the Lions won as well. That is true.
I told you they look good this year. The Lions look really good.
But you have to work in the Lions factor. Okay. This is not the only year they look good. They're the Lions. It's kind of like the Jets. Everybody cool down. Don't get overly excited. Okay.
I was actually at the tailgate on Monday. It was insane.
Well, were you?
Yeah.
I stopped doing that. I think the last time I went tailgating, my daughter was probably 6. It got to be too much, dude. All day on Sunday, you're drinking all day, go to the game. By the time you roll home, you're exhausted. You got to get up for work the next day.
We got home from Philly. I think it was like 2:30 in the morning. We got back.
See?
Yeah,
it's too long a day. And I had a bunch of friends. They converted a small school bus. They painted it all green. Okay, and the little flip sign on the top said either Dallas sucks or the Giants suck. You could flip it back and forth,
nice.
Right? But I had some great times. I mean, I absolutely.
Cool.
We fried a turkey in the parking lot, which I got to tell you, a bunch of guys drinking all day should really not be frying a turkey.
Did you use the ladder method, or was it just like open burning oil?
Well, we did have the actual, the thing you cook it in, and you got to pour all the peanut oil in. Okay. But yeah, didn't realize that when the grease falls out onto the pavement, it can still be on fire. We learned a lot of valuable lessons that December day. Luckily, there was snow on the ground still, so we could throw it on it. Oh, my God. I was there for the game where, I don't know if you remember this for local news. You might as well, Alec. The guy who had an RV, game was starting, took his still burning hibachi that he thought he put out, and because he didn't want anybody to steal his hibachi, slid it underneath the RV.
Oh, God.
And the RV caught on fire.
See, that's like Darwin Awards. I hate to say it, but that's Darwin Awards. You're like, no, don't say that, man. It's a good. He didn't want
to lose his $50 mini travel hibachi.
Lose his $40,000 RV,
right? Was the green approved by John? There was a green goblin. Hey, Amy.
Is there anything green up there?
Well, one of the things that Mariana was coloring was a Green Goblin cover sketch.
Oh, you better let me see that before.
Yeah, we were making jokes about that. No, Joel, no, it has not been approved by John. But if Amy is anywhere in a minute, we'll see if we can pull that up. And
I'll tell you who I had a Green Lantern conversation with today.
Who?
Because he likes the characters, Walt Giovanni.
Get your glasses up, people. That's 2.
We had this conversation about the appropriate color of green. For Green Lantern, and I sent him some clips of the way Gil Kane used to have the green saturated in the books.
Oh, wait.
Well, Gil Kane
is that a name drop? Okay, I'm just checking. Everybody put your glasses down. That was not a name drop. That was an inadvertent mention.
That was a mention. If I say the word Stan Lee, that's not a name drop. That's just Stan.
Unless
although I'm sure you do have one.
Unless the story begins with one time I cornered Stan Lee.
No.
And a restraining order was issued not too long after that.
I'll tell you, an artist who understood the importance of the color was Pat Broderick. He would always get with the colorist, and he would be like, too many times with Green Lantern, everything is sort of like very transparent. It's a very light tint because you're supposed to see who's inside. I don't need to see who's inside the bubble. I don't need to see the inside of the giant boxing glove. If you go back and you look at some of the Pat Broderick stuff from, I'm going to say maybe it was the 80s, DC Presents with Superman.
Right.
I mean, it's like jarringly green when you look at them.
Preston, we're only at 2, but you're welcome to take your third if you'd like. All right, let's get to some best offer books here.
I'm going to give these guys a chance to kind of get the bottles and the glasses.
Yeah, let them digest a couple first before you really hammer them.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here. Okay, so our first best offer book, Charlaine Harris's Gravesite #1, signed by Charlaine Harris. Suggested retail $39.99. It is a best offer book starting at $50. All right, and then give everybody a second to take a look at that. And then our second best offer book of the night is Green Hornet #4, Virgin variant, signed by Mark Waid. Suggested retail $39.99. It is a best offer book starting at $19.36. The year the Green Hornet first appeared.
That's really nice.
Is that green appropriate?
It is for the Hornet. The background colors are fine, but I think that's maybe Bully Pulpit. I'm trying to think of what cover that's from. I particularly like that. I like that kind of mask.
The pandemic mask. The pandemic mask.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I guess it would work if the next time Green Hornet comes out, maybe we'll subtly suggest to the artist, hey, look, if you want me to talk about this on the show.
So, all right, Stevie B, that's nice that you mentioned it. You brought that up. So John was not here either. I sort of mentioned it to him, and I don't know what if Alex had seen the show or the recording of it, but we had a title that Mariano Nicieza created called Phaser, and we had a special foil edition, and he had some quantity, and we were selling them on the air while Mariano was here, and a lot of people jumped in on it, and Kenneth Bird, who we found out was active military.
Wow!
Was just not in this month or this week in a financial place where he could splurge on the comic. A bunch of our viewers jumped in and bought him a copy, and they bought Robbie one too. So that was real nice. So yeah, it is cool. This is what I always love about this show and the community we developed. It's little things like that. So that's really cool. So Robbie, how was your week?
Robbie? Alec.
Jeez, dude.
You're good.
No, you're good. Anymore.
Look, Bill. All right. You just settle down over there. Okay. And you, Nate. All right. Tell us how your week was. Nice.
No, it was good. I had a friend fly in who recently just got out of the military too. So he flew in Saturday night, and I took him to the airport today.
Oh, is that why you guys were tailgating? You taking tailgating?
Yeah, he's never been to PA, never been to Philly. And
nice.
I took him down for the tailgate. Hung out with some of my friends that he got to meet. It was cool.
This time of year is nice to tailgate. Once you get into December, I remember being out there in a major snowstorm. Had fallen the night before, and that was I had to help him dig out the bus from where it was parked. I didn't think we were doing it, but we did anyway. And the back of the bus didn't have any heat, so that was interesting. But by 10 o'clock, I didn't. 10 a.m. I didn't go too much more.
Yeah, I was going to say, anything that bothers you with a tailgate. I spent years at the stadium because I used to cater in the club section, right? And some of the stuff I saw at tailgate it was legendary. All you have to do is wait, because an hour later, there's tons of food and beer. Nobody cares. You know what?
You would appreciate this. All right. So other than our obvious fried turkey debacle. Again, not really suggested for anybody that's been drinking. You really shouldn't fry turkey when you're inebriated. But we had some amazing stuff. I mean, it was just everybody would bring something, and then we'd make stuff there with the grill. But we had this one guy that was, he owned a fishing boat somewhere down the shore. I forget which town. Maybe it was Sea Isle or somewhere like that. And he would catch tuna. And it was so cold. Okay, he would have the tuna in the back of his SUV and just start slicing pieces off, and we just be eating sushi. I remember being out there where it was so cold that your can of beer would freeze by the time you were halfway through, because as soon as you open it, right, air gets inside and out.
You'd have to hold it like this, like with two hands, because your hands would keep it from freezing. One of the coldest years ever. Iron Hill was doing a thing when Link sort of first opened,
Right.
and two of their employees were getting married. It was like an engagement party, and we're having trouble getting anything lit because it was cold and windy.
Right.
Finally, they decide to do the toast, and the champagne is frozen in the bottle, like just frozen in the bottle. It's like they can't get the cork off. Finally, the guy gets so upset he just grabs it, and breaks it.
It's all frozen.
It's just frozen because it was just sitting. Literally, somebody took it and sat it on the ground. We're running around trying to get stuff together or whatever. We're trying to get the cake out for them or whatever. And of course, it's like a big thing going on where they're giving people free food because they're advertising Iron Hill. But on the other side, we're trying to kind of have this engagement party really nice.
And it always worked out, because I didn't really want to cook or bring stuff. So I would bring a case of beer, right? And then somebody who was bringing food wouldn't, bring any beer because they'd share mine. So it always worked out, but it's a good time. It was a good time. But this is a good time of year to go because the weather's so nice.
I don't think I've ever had to bring the beer to an event that I went to because everybody would be like, oh, make this or make that.
Right.
We'll get the beer. And I thought to myself, once Zed's opened, I was like, I'm getting tired of cooking. I said, I'm going to bring some of my friends' beer over and you guys can figure it out for yourself. And that's when I look and it's like Jersey Mike's. And I'm like,
not doing this.
Yeah, I swerved myself there.
Learn from that mistake.
All right, so let's get to another book. We've got Invincible Iron Man number 500, signed by Matt Fraction. We have one available for $32 for it is also number 32 of 300 signed.
Who? That guy doesn't even work in comics anymore.
Yeah, so he's the tough signature.
That's the opposite of name drop.
So everybody cough up a drink now.
I'll tell you right now,
Cough
I'm
back
not surprised to see something like Sex Criminals pop up on one of the subscription services. Because if you read that book, that book has sort of a vibe where you could see them making this into some kind of weird niche show. And I think
it's also a finished series too.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So new comic book day, guys.
Comic book day.
You want to start, Alec? What did you like this week?
There's honestly everything I picked up was really good. My shop was short on some books, so they had to reorder some. But I'll tell you what, I usually am not a big fan of some of the Donny Cates stuff, but him and Stegman killed it on that new Vanished one. I was a big fan of that. I missed out on Ice Cream Man, so that sucked. But man, I'll tell you, the indies are always killing it. Never a bad week with indies.
John?
I'll do the non-Dynamite stuff real fast. This is a great time of year for me because one of my guilty pleasures is Archie horror. And they've been
that one came out too.
You know what I'm talking about? They had Weirder Mysteries come out. R.L. Stein has a book coming out.
It was so cool. It was
I haven't read it yet. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Do I have it up here? Stuff of Nightmares.
Yeah, Stuff of Nightmares. I got the glow in the dark cover. That's the one
There's
I got.
A couple. Oh, nice. See, that's real nice. Oh, I should have brought my books with me, actually. I didn't think about that. This is that time of year where you're going to kind of get I almost feel like Night of the Ghoul came out at the wrong time.
Right.
Night of the Ghoul is really good and probably one of the better horror things you're going to read, but it came out in February or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're going to have a reissue of it, but it's, that's one of the top things. I always say Archie horror comics are for like the soft core horror fan. You know what I mean? People that kind of, they want to be scared, but not too scared.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not the like Gail Simone clean room where like you're afraid to close your eyes and go to sleep because it's so unnerving and disturbing. There's a couple other things that came out this week. I can't remember now. Dark Horse had another kind of horror book come out. It might have been from last week, and I just picked it up this week. But
that one I know what you're talking about. Was it? They had a couple stories in there. Yeah, that was a fun read too.
So this was for most of the times. I don't have great luck with non-Dynamite books because either I'm disappointed or they don't come in. That's becoming a problem for everybody. Everybody I know is having a little talk with people over on Ontario Street. Everybody's dealing with this problem. Every retailer, they just like, we want all our books every week, and it just doesn't happen anymore. we don't live in that world anymore. You know what I mean? I actually said this to Gil, a retailer who drives down from, I think, like Lehigh Valley to get to Ontario Street. And I told him, I said, we don't live in that world anymore. Stuff gets missed. I said, I do a show and I talk to people, other retailers, whatever. And they're like, yeah, my store just didn't have it this week. And at first you were annoyed. And I think now people are just, like Alex just said it, I got shorted this week. Like there's no like recourse. You're not shopped anymore. You walk into a place and, oh, you ordered this, but it didn't come in. All right. You know, like what, you know, what are you going to say? I had to hunt around to find the Fantastic Four Alex Ross thing. What can I do now? First family.
Oh, what I know what you're talking about. That hardcover.
You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it just didn't have it. So I was like, okay. So I drove up to a store in Hoboken and I got it. I mean, I also did it because I wanted to have lunch, but Dynamite this week, real quick. Draculina started kind of slow. Right now, that's maybe kind of like one of the best books Dynamite's doing right now. And not to be an I told you so, but people who asked, oh, Draculina's only 6 issues. First run is 6 issues. If you get to the end, no spoilers, but kind of like I told you, Draculina will probably be back next year, later this year or next year. Right. It's just, you know, stuff, you know, I always feel like, even though I say this, people still like finale. And I remember in the beginning when I became a Dynamite fan, I'd be like, what do you mean finale? You know, like there were times where I was looking for this office in Gaither Drive because I was going to be like, look, dude, this is not the finale. I want more of this.
And he found us.
And then eventually I found you. Vampirella Strikes this week. That book is just something else. If you're a Vampirella fan, and we talked about this before, mentioned it with Alec, and I don't mean this in a negative way. This is not the Vampirella book to start with, right? Like Alec and other people ask is, what Vampirella book should I start with? Not this. This is almost like a love letter to what's happened before, even back to a story. There's a reference in here to a story that Jimmy Palmiotti drew with Tom Snigowski in the 90s for Harris Comics. That's
that
like,
name drop?
Well, the Tom Snigowski one was because him and I talk all the time.
That's 3.
He did say him earlier, though. I don't know. Are we repeating names here?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I didn't mark it down. So
all right, never mind.
All right.
So I was one of the very few people that caught it. I said, wait a minute. I said, are you talking about Vampirella Zero? And he's like, I don't even know how many people alive remember that comic, but I'm old. And we have it. We have Vampirella Zero somewhere in one of the Harris binders here. He's just doing a really good. That guy has a special relationship. We have a lot of great creators do Vampirella over the years. Right now, it's Christopher Priest. In the old days, we had like Grant Morrison. These other people do these books. Tom Snigowski has a special understanding of the character. I don't know if it's because he's been writing it for so long. I mean, his work really goes back. His work goes back to, I think, he's trying to remember if he wrote anything for Warren, but he knows he wrote a ton of stuff for Harris and now Dynamite. So his work really stretches quite a bit. What else? Well, we had Samurai Sonia I mentioned earlier. I'm still waiting to get some feedback from that. I don't know if I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. There were a lot of really good characters in Soniaversal. A lot of them. I don't know if Samurai Sonia would have been my first spin-off go-to. It's like it's cool, but it's more like a martial arts comic than a Sonia comic, which is fine for me. You know what I mean? Like I love martial arts comics, but I've had a couple of people be like, it's sort of like a, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu vibe, which is great for me, but I don't know if that's what everybody who reads regular Red Sonia, I don't know if that's what people are reading Red Sonia necessarily that migrates over to martial arts. There might be a little bit of a disconnect there. Preston, Mind Warp, issue 1 was great. And we mentioned this last week and talked to Jeff Parker about this. I talked to Benjamin Dewey today, and he said,
no, that's a name drop.
That was 2 in a row, people.
Benjamin Dewey said he's just scratching the surface. He's like, if you like the art in Mind Warp, he's like, this is probably the, like, not weakest, but, he's like, every issue, as the story takes over, he's really able to sort of, go harder and go harder. So if you're like a Benjamin Dewey fan, put Mind Warp on your list, man, because he's really got, he sent me like a couple little, like stills. He DM'd me to show me. And he's like, this is stuff that's coming up.
Was that an additional one?
No, no.
Okay. I'm just checking. All right, so important public service announcement. If you're playing the drinking game and you pass out, please leave your YouTube on. So
we get credit.
We
for
get
the
credit
view?
for the view.
That's awful.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm trying to be honest. Okay, I would still appreciate the views. Just make sure you leave your computer on. It doesn't automatically shut off there. All right.
Now, one thing I will say, only because we were on the subject of New Comic Book Day, we were talking about, do you get your books, didn't get your books. One thing that I've been, it's not that I'm getting, not the right word for it, but I'm getting so discouraged with New Comic Book Day because not only, are shipments being shorted, the ones that are showing up, a lot of them are destroyed, or they've got just like some mean spine ticks on it. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be grading these books, but it's the fact that they have it to begin with, like a bunch of them do. And then a lot of them, even from Marvel, they're like $5-6 now. And they're really not that great of stories. So it's picking up these books. It's like, man, it's getting tough continuing on with Marvel. The indies are always doing well, but it's just between price and just the quality of them showing up, it does suck,
I remember, I think it might have been DC Vampires. They had one book, and I apologize in advance if I'm wrong. They had one of their major crossover books, and the first issue was $6.95. And I'm looking at the condition of this book, and no shade here. I love Ontario Street Comics. They're a great Philly comic book store. But I'm looking at he's got 5 or 6 copies there. I mean, full disclosure, I don't get into the comic book store as soon as they open. I know the hardcore collectors are there. I don't get there. The issues that were there were just not in good enough shape for me to justify dropping $6.95 for. I mean, I know, you get a discount for your pull or whatever, but you know what I mean? Even $6, like, hold on a second. I am not putting stuff in, I'm not getting stuff slabbed or put any, I'm not a merchant. I am not a retailer. I buy stuff and I keep almost everything. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, you want $6.95 for this. You should have made sure it arrived here at this store where this guy sells these books to make a living in better shape.
Yeah.
So Ron says you got to stop hitting that table.
What'd you say?
Yeah, Ron says you got to stop hitting the table.
What do you mean?
No, but you're right. It's just even going like a quick glance at my books, not even taking them out. 5 of them, I only got 10 books this week. 5 of them all have noticeable spine ticks on them. Like it's color breaking. They're very noticeable. One of them, they didn't. So this is actually crazy. My shop, I don't think got any vanished outside of whoever ordered them. But they were able to sell me the incentive for cover price. So I was at least able to get it. The incentive has a color breaking spine tick right on it. And
see, that's that's,
I'm not sure you can see it even on the screen. You're not gonna be able to see it too well, but it's I don't think you can see that easily.
Yeah,
but
it's too small.
This
but
is crazy. They're trying to get people that are like, oh, we want more people reading comics. We want more people trading comics, selling comics. Really?
They're also trying to save money on production.
I'm sorry. That's just not okay, especially if a retailer goes to the trouble of getting like that 1 in 50 cover or whatever, right? And it arrives in not, super near mint condition or whatever. Like that retailer has less motivation in the future to grab the next 1 in 50 or 1 in 25 or 1 in 100 book or whatever it is.
So Stevie B has a good question, and we're Rupenstein, what's going on? That's actually a very good point. But we're going to take our first break. Actually, we're at 6:28, 6:29. We're going to take our first break. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Stay with us.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.
Comic Collectables is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rocket Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectables with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
Hey, it's producer Kyle. If you like going places where the action never stops, like Las Vegas, the Caribbean, and Atlantic City, then you're probably not who I want to talk to. But if you want to surround yourself with amazing comic books and comic book content made by a devoted group of smart and funny industry insiders, the Experience Members Club was made for you. You can join the Experience by becoming a supporting member of our YouTube channel. You get access to exclusive content that no one else gets, like members-only live streams, pre-sales, one-on-one Q&As with production staff, and other content that's exclusively for members. Plus, for a limited time, if you sign up now, you'll be entered into our giveaway of a slabbed comic book. Just call this 1-8... hold on. It's 2022. No one makes phone calls anymore. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen, or just visit the membership section of our YouTube page, and you'll be on the VIP line of the comic book buffet, baby. Look at the size of those perks. Join today, and I'll be saying, who loves you, baby? Me. The answer was me.
Hey, we're back.
We are
Who's
back.
producing?
JD.
JD, did you get the last thing on Slack from Amy? Hey, Alec.
Hey, how you doing today?
Everybody, hit that thumbs up.
And who was it? CVB asked that question. You guys think I'm kidding when I say I'm going to go over to Nick's office and ask him something? I literally went over to Nick's office and asked him on the break, even though he was busy. He was nice enough to give me an answer instead of screaming GTFO because he was on the phone. He was busy.
Oh, there we go. So anyway,
there it is.
While it won't look exactly like that.
Oh, nice.
Mariana,
nice.
So they won't look exactly the same, but some of the yellow still needs to be added in.
All right. So that is...
most of my John Carter books were that price.
Oh, yeah. Invincible. That now what Nick just held up was Invincible Iron Man number 600 blank variant, signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with a Madam Web cover sketch.
By the way, my answer to John was, thanks for asking me to pick for my favorite children.
As you can see, Mariano's already started to work on that. So it looks a little different. So that was before Mariano actually started the coloring. And the one you see on the rack is the one that we should scan that one as well. JD, did you get another picture of that issue, the one that Mariano already colored by chance? So we'll give him a second there. So all right, so that is available and it will be fully colored. Mariano just hasn't finished it yet, and we have the one available for $89.99.
Well, then why isn't he at that desk, Bob Cratchit style?
Well, we tried to chain him, but it didn't work. Yeah, we tried to chain him to his desk, but it didn't work. He's wiry.
And my answer to that question, Stevie B, for me personally, and this is going to be weird because I'm a lifelong Vampirella fan. Been reading Red Sonja since high school, which was a long time ago. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a Green Hornet fan. For me, what I would consider, like, I don't know if I'd call it the cornerstone book I'm not the publisher, so obviously I see it differently. But it's Project Superpowers. The first Project Superpowers, Alex Ross covers. To me, that was the first time I remember people at trade shows just spinning their head around, like, who's doing that? What is that? And I'm like, it's Dynamite, Project Superpowers. I remember seeing retailers at trade shows just grabbing them one after another after another. For me, and I guess maybe it's because I'd read Red Sonja before. I'd read Vampirella starting with Warren. And Green Hornet, as good as the Dynamite run has been, Now Comics had a pretty good run with Green Hornet. There are a lot of people, it's very different than what Dynamite did, different interpretation of the character, but Now Comics did really well with Green Hornet. Project Superpowers was something where literally Alex Ross and I think Jim Kruger, they reach back into public domain, they grab characters with names that people barely remember, and then the next thing you know, it's like one of the most amazing stories I'd ever read. So for me personally, like if you were going to get into Dynamite, that's where I'd start.
Right. So, all right. So all 3 CCAs that you, so Ed Weird, he does, but he watches through YouTube, Ed Weird. So I don't know if he's going to see a Facebook comment, but if you get on the YouTube, he'll definitely see it. All right. Nick might be able to see that now that JD has spotlighted it.
Thank you, JD.
And so all 3 CCAs tonight, they are in partial completion. So Mariano has not finished coloring them in, but he will. Okay, so he did part of it, so we're showing you kind of part of it tonight. So again, I just emailed Amy. Hopefully she'll send you that scan of those that were colored in so that we can get that up there so people can see the partial work anyway. All right, let me see. What do we got here? Let's do another book.
Do we want to sell these people books or no?
Let's do it. You know what? Let's do another CCA. But
nice.
I'm hoping Amy will send those. All right. Well, should have talked to her during the break. All right. So let me see. You know what? Let's do a Dynamite book instead. So we got. You just mentioned it. Samurai Sonja number 4, Pasquale Quilano, virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. That is a pretty cool cover.
Oh, the Samurai Sonja covers have been, again, it's just something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're sort of, there have been different versions of Sonja, and the covers have been reflect that difference. Like there's a steampunk Sonja that was done,
right,
and I love that version. And I think a lot of people, it was just too weird seeing Sonja fighting someone, with like an electric cutlass on a blimp. You know what I mean? I think that Sonja fans, part of me is sad about this, because I really love the different versions of the character from Sonjaversal and Legendary, which was probably one of the coolest versions of Sonja. I think by and large, Red Sonja fans just want to see,
right.
They just kind of want to see her in the Hyborian age doing their thing, or like Amy Chu had a lot of success by kind of grabbing that Roy Thomas DNA of Red Sonja in the 1970s. That was pretty cool.
All right, so Ed Weird, Nick does watch the show. I can't be guaranteeing that he's watching, the entire show at every moment. But if you have a question for him, throw it up there, and we'll try to get an answer for you, buddy. All right, so you know what? Let me just throw up the next one. All right, so the next one is Captain America number 695, blank variant, signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with a Spider-Woman cover sketch.
Nice.
Okay. And this one also will be colored. We really need to get those colored ones up there. I'll tell you what, John, talk. I'll be right back.
What, me? I'm so shy. I really don't know what to say.
All right, name dropping time. Here, let's go.
No, he has to be able to write them down. I'll tell you what else came out today that I really liked. And again, this is probably like an older comic fan, but Shudder has brought this show back. His Creep Show came out today. And Creep Show is one of those things where it seems to come and go. You know what I mean? It always is somehow. There it is. If you are a horror fan, this is like your time of year. My guess is the next 6-7 weeks are going to be filled with, you know, these kind of releases. I think there's another Sabrina thing coming too.
By the way, real quick on the Captain America, that's in progress.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I was hoping we had an image of that.
No, we don't, because it's the first one that he did. He didn't sell. Did you sell the Spider-Woman the other day?
No.
Yeah, it's in progress. He's going to finish it tomorrow.
Right, I know, but he's already colored some of it in, hasn't he?
Yeah.
No, that was the image I was looking for.
Oh, I thought you were looking for fully colored.
No. And Weird's got a question. All right.
Delete everything Nick said.
What?
We'll just delete that in post. We'll take it out. Don't worry about it.
All right. So, and Weird. Okay. So, got an invoice. Cover art.
Real quick, two things for Preston. The volleyball player was actually, I think, like a lacrosse player.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me answer Ed Weird's question. Ed Weird, do me a favor. I think the invoice would have come from Amy. Can you email Amy? You can copy me on it if you would. rex.wang@dynamite.com. That may have just been missed, so we may have to redo the invoice. And I know which print you're talking about, so we'll get that squared away for you. All right. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I mean, that's a
logistical question. Go ahead.
I just wanted to answer. Preston's had two kind of back-to-back questions. Yeah, Preston. I'm about as big as Dynamite fan as it gets. I did not enjoy seeing the lacrosse player version of Sonya. I understand it was in there for a little bit of comic relief or whatever.
Right.
I didn't want to see that. Every scene she was in could have been devoted to Hell Sonya.
All right. So Ron has made a request. So John, do you mind playing Vanna White?
The other
don't
question
have the images.
Preston had was about Creep Show. I you know what? How close is it to the EC art? I think it's inspired. I'm not going to say it's close to EC art.
All right. So, all right. Yeah, no, I understand, Ronald. And now, Ron, keep in mind that these are partially colored. So Mariano is not finished, but we figured whatever he has done, we'll show you kind of what's going on there. All right. So first up is the Captain America, number 695, blank variant, signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza.
Is this one of the Spider-Woman?
Yep. And that will be completed. So it is not done. All right. So he will get the rest of the red in. Okay.
I gotta tell you, this is pretty funky. I tell Mariana to call it a day, and I take it straight down.
And this one is $89.99. Okay. Then next up is Invincible Iron Man number 600, blank variant, signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza, with the Madam Web cover sketch. Okay. And again, this will look like not exactly like, in terms of background and stuff, but will look very, very similar to JD. If you could throw that image up again. When JD, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's going to be colored very similar to that. I'm not sure what the background's going to be. He may just fill that in with a solid color. All right, and then finally is Vampirella. And Ron, this one's right up your alley.
This is on his desk. I should have just taken it.
This is this will also be finished by Mariano. I'm not sure. No, this is as is, I think. Wait. I think Mariano's doing the coloring, and for the life of me, I can't remember who the artist
did the lipstick already, so I don't.
Did the artist sign it? I'll have to go out and look. All right, they will all come with certs. We haven't printed those up yet. That one is just a retail of $100. We have it for $61.19. Okay, Nick says that one is finished. All right, so the Vampirella is actually finished.
Is the final.
Good.
All right.
The Vampirella is the final the way it is.
I like that. It's black and white and red.
All right. So, Ron, those are the three sketch covers. Again, the Captain America with Spider-Woman and the Invincible Iron Man with Madame Web is partially colored. The Vampirella is fully colored. That's complete. And the collar work. Correct. No, that one, the Vampirella is complete, my friend. But the other two are partials. Okay. So, and I expect Mariano to be able to get it done in a day or two, to be quite honest. So those are the CCAs available. Each one is available for $89.99, except for the Vampirella. That is available for $61.19.
Those are solid so far. He's done a good job.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the finished products, though. as well.
Yeah, I am too. I am too, and I understand people are, it's hard. It's hard when it's just a partial, so to speak. So all right, so Preston's out this week. Preston's been under some pressure from his wife, I believe. She's starting to count the dollars.
Stuff ain't adding up right.
Yeah. So Preston's running from the taser. Hopefully his wife and Ron's wife don't talk. Next thing, Ron's wife will give her a good place to get a discount on the taser. All right, next up we got
Triple B wants the Vampy CCA.
all right, Triple B,
Cool.
You got it, buddy.
That's really nice.
That's solid.
Triple B, he's got it. You got it, buddy. All right. So I did something new tonight. We've got some vintage comics on here. So we've got Strange Tales number 87. And it is a presumed grade of 7. And we have the one available for $80. So we figured we'd throw some vintage up there and see.
In order for Nick to sell this, he must have like 4 other copies at home.
Probably.
I mean, that is a great Submariner cover.
Probably. All right. So let me see here.
Run Vintage Row because they're all in a row, right? So run the row.
All right. So understood, Ron. No problem, buddy. I know it's kind of hard to envision when it's not completely done. If I can convince Mariano, maybe we'll get that done. Hopefully in time for Monday's show.
You want me to shoot over to his house? I know where he lives.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but then you got to do your show by yourself, and that'll kill the ratings.
Now that's the ultimate name drop. You
What?
know where he is. I know where he is. I'll just pop over.
All right. So we're going to count that as 2. Okay.
Ah,
Because the judge has officially ruled that that's a double name drop.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a big one. Not
So
only
we're
do
up
you
to
know him well,
7.
but
Can you imagine that? He's just starting to like heat up his dinner. You got to come back real quick.
No, just bring the books to him.
Oh, that'd be a bad idea. And then I'll text Ron. This is how they look finished.
And then
It's
you
like
can-
11 o'clock.
And
at
then his
night.
wife will be cooking and you can burst in the kitchen. Oh, no, you're doing that wrong. Here, let me help you.
I don't like that green.
Oh, no, don't do that.
What? I'm sorry. I am so
I
sorry.
don't know who does the cooking in Mariano's house.
You need to. Ron, we did. Yes, we did get Triple P's claim. Alec, we need you to stay in your lane.
What?
That's outside of your lane. The official judge of the color green would be John. Okay. All
That
right.
is a very
We're just
cool
gonna
call.
have anarchy here if this keeps happening, right?
No, you know what? That's fine. Green is. I read this a couple times. Green is one of the least used colors in comics.
Really?
Yeah. Think
You
about it.
got whole characters that are green.
Yeah, okay. Think about that. You're right. Hulk is green, right? And then think about the next 10 Marvel characters: red, blue, yellow, some combination thereof. Right?
And
Black
green.
and white.
It weird says my doctor's going to put me on the no name drop diet if I keep drinking like this. You're a grown man.
I'll
Triple.
tell you who
You're a
thinks
grown
that.
man, buddy.
I'll tell you who thinks
Or
this
Ed
game
Weird.
is funny.
Who?
I was talking.
Get
to
ready,
Tom-
buckle up, people. Here
I
it
was
comes.
talking- well, I already mentioned Tom Stigowski, but
Okay.
his writing partner, Jean Atchison, thinks this is
8.
hysterical.
We're up to 8.
She shot the little whiskey shot emoji. She thinks that's a great idea.
Yeah, we're up to 8. Oh boy, man, people are gonna be stumbling out. All right, so
And I'll tell you who else who thought it was a great idea when I told him on Facebook was Daniel Main, who also does Vampirellas.
9. We're up to 9. If you haven't caught up, catch up,
They'll be asleep by 7:30.
man.
It'll just be me
We haven't
and
even
Alex.
broken the first hour yet, dude. Asleep, unconscious is a more descriptive
Although
term.
I'm curious, Alex, have you read Creep Show yet?
I did. I
Did you-
thoroughly
what-
enjoyed it.
What did you think? I haven't read it yet. What did you think of the art? Did you think the art was like how close or far away from EC Comics was it?
To be honest, I'd have to look it up because I don't remember exactly what that looks like off the top of my head.
Okay.
But to my knowledge, from what I do remember, I don't. It's like that. You know what? I'll just show you. I'll put a little. I got it right here.
Cool.
I'll let you guys be the judge. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I should have read my books.
I think what you said is a good description. It's inspired, but I wouldn't say it's pretty good though. I'll pull that much. Here's a little bit.
Oh, so yeah, I like that. There's definitely a little bit of EC Comics vibe in there, I think.
So that's one story, and then here's the other story.
Nice.
And I thought that they both I thought they were both really good. I thought the first story was better than the second one. But I was actually really impressed. And I'll tell you, I was really impressed with that R.L. Stine book too. I was surprised at how much I like that.
I'm looking to go home and read that. I kind of was not reading some of that stuff today. I'm looking forward to reading that.
All right, so let's do a Rex cap. All right.
This is the one thing because Brett is
Edward is keeping up. All right, Preston, we're gonna do a Rex cap, and then we're gonna get John's opinion about the green Goblin green. All right, so
this will look great on my wall. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's been purchased by John Diaz. So get your grubby mitts off of it. All right, here we go. We did Invincible Iron Man number 500, signed by Matt Fraction, and we have one available for $32. Love that cover. Then we had Charlene Harris's Grave Site number 1, signed by Charlene Harris. Suggested retail $39.99. It is a best offer book starting at $10. Then we had the Green Hornet number 4, Virgin Variant, signed by Mark Waid. Suggested retail $39.99. It is a best offer book starting at $19.36. Then we did the Captain America number 695 blank variant signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with a Spider-Woman cover. It will be fully colored as soon as Mariano finishes it. Then we did Invincible Iron Man number 600 blank variant signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with Madam Web cover sketch. Also will be fully colored. Then we did Samurai Sonia number 4, Pasquale Quilano, Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50. And we have one available for $40. Then we had Strange Tales number 87. And it is a presumed grade of 7. And we have one for $80 available. And that is the Rex cap. Now, John, your opinion of Mariano's choice of green for the Green Goblin?
This is exactly what you should be seeing in the Green Goblin, especially because has this been up there already?
It was sold on Monday.
I'll just throw it up here again real quick so people see what I mean. This version of the Green Goblin is
it's so cool.
Yeah, this is a suit, so it's absolutely okay for it to have an almost shockingly unnatural shade of green, like bright green. You know what I mean?
No.
Other incarnations of the Green Goblin are different, but that particular incarnation, it should be bright green. And if you go back and you look at some of that stuff,
right?
It is, some of those vintage covers are,
So we'll have to have Mariano here again. It was so much fun to have him. And while John's here, the banter will get ridiculous.
If we're going to do vintage books for the holidays, you know what you should have them look and see?
What? If
they have some Marvel vintage horror stuff, Fear of Night and stuff like that.
Well, I will say that they are working on a 4 connecting cover Star Wars.
Oh,
yes. So I'm looking forward to seeing that when it's done. Let's see. Sheldon, vintage books are Tales to Astonish versus Strange Tales. Tonight, all we got is Strange Tales, my friend. All right, so before we go to break, let's do another one. Let's do Strange Tales number 89, presumed grade of 7, and we have one available for $80.
I think what he was saying is that these are not Strange Tales; these are Tales to Astonish.
Tales to Astonish, you're right. I didn't even look. So are they? Let me say, John, take a quick look. Are they all Tales to Astonish? You're right.
Let me take a look.
I think Sheldon's right.
Yep, they're all Tales to Astonish.
All right. Typo.
This one is super cool. We have to do this when we get back.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Dave.
John's touching them all.
Thank you, Sheldon. You're right. So it Tales to Astonish.
They're the ones drinking, and they're still sharper than we are. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it is Tales to Astonish.
Thank you, Nick.
Nick rushed Amy, so it's Nick's fault. Remember one thing, everybody. If things go right, it's everybody but Nick's fault. If things go wrong, it's all Nick's fault.
All right. So now that we got that straightened out, is it too early to claim the Star Wars Connecting CCA? Ron, you wanted to wait until these were fully colored. Okay. I will tell you, I don't even know if they started it. They told me the idea, but I don't know if they even started sketching that out, bro.
You want to text Ken and say, look, Ron already bought this, so chop.
Wait. Who, somebody asked for a Silver Surfer on Monday, and Mariano did start working on that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he's already sketched it out. I think Joe Del Beato is going to do the inks, and I guess Mariano will finish with the colors. So there you go.
There you go. See, I'd love to see. That's what I'm saying. As we get closer to Halloween, two things should happen. One is we should try to find stuff like that, horror books, and second is it's that time of year where I nag Nick for Eerie and Creepy from Warren, which were other Vampirella books, like co-published by Warren with Vampirella.
Right.
So it seems natural to me that we should be doing Eerie and Creepy as well. The last time Eerie and Creepy was done was, I think, 2010 by Dark Horse.
Yeah, the problem is I'm the one that's got to find them. It's real easy when it's just like ideas in your head.
Well, just go into the warehouse an extra 10 minutes early. I'm sure it won't be that hard to find it all.
Okay.
Easy stuff.
Why don't you, since you're up at 3 a.m. anyway, why don't you come help me?
It was up at 3 a.m. Andor, the first 3 episodes of Andor was absolutely worth getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I have not.
Well, about 20 after 3.
It's out now?
Yeah, it is out today. Right? Yeah, 21st, I remember. I have not seen it, obviously. I actually have fallen way behind on my streaming.
Really?
I know the feeling.
Football season started and everybody has hope right now.
Yeah, see, Preston would love to see Eerie and Creepy. So if you're not behind on your streaming and you're certainly not finding the comic books we want, what are you doing?
I am behind on my streaming, I just said.
That's what I mean. You're not streaming and you're not finding the books. What's the third thing in your life you're doing?
Dude,
softball.
I'll tell you what. You come help me go through the long boxes, okay? Long boxes.
At the warehouse? I absolutely will go to the warehouse with you.
We're gonna need you to wear something skin tight.
Man, that's something you never hear anybody ask me, like ever. I think people would rather just lose comics than see me in a skin tight outfit. Yeah, I'll just write it off. It's fine.
Oh my God.
The Rook. We've talked about this before, and I'll tell you who I had a conversation with about The Rook. I had a conversation with Dave Acosta about The Rook.
10 people. We're up to 10. Okay?
People are gonna be dying soon, man.
Please be careful.
Next week's episode is brought to you by the American Liver Foundation.
Oh my God.
Warren is sort of, you know what I mean? It's sort of like, and I explained this to somebody one time and they laughed. In terms of comics, Dynamite is what I married, but Warren is sort of like that first girl you take to the prom. You never forget her. It's always like trapped in time, right? When you pick up a Warren comic and you're a fan of a certain generation, you are sort of yanked back into the 1970s. There's almost no way you can do it. From the ads, they have a certain feel and smell unless you've had them slabbed or something. I would tell anyone, if you go to a show, a con, drop a couple dollars. Don't worry about the edition. Just grab yourself a few Warren comics. And it's cool because if you read the Vampirella stuff, and you can see in that reflection what Dynamite does now.
So, Marcus.
Yes, do you remember?
I believe today is
21st of September.
Well, I believe it is the unofficial Earth, Wind, and Fire Day in California. So yes, I love that game.
It's on Twitter.
I'm old enough to actually remember when that album came out.
There's a website with a Twitter calendar, and all the days from all these different movies and stuff like that are on that list. 21st of November, obviously. The dates from Back to the Future, the dates from Blade Runner. Anytime a movie of the future told you what the date was, that Twitter calendar hashtag put it on there.
All right, so at Weird, I wouldn't take the extra drink because the Lions are tied for first place in week 2. I would save that toast for maybe week 15 if there's still first place. Then you got something you're looking at there, buddy. And at Weird is commented to John. Thanks, John. Now my wife just asked me if I remember the girl I took to prom. I hope it wasn't her, Weird, and you didn't remember, Mike.
No, I remember being at a show in Wizard World in Philadelphia probably 10 years ago, and they were having this conversation about, where do you fly your flag? With Marvel, with DC, with Marvel and DC. Then Image came along. Like, where did you start? Where are you sort of at now? And this was a few years ago, but even then, I was already, I think this was probably, I remember it's like 2014. This is when Dynamite had done Legendary,
Right.
and I'd already made my decision that, this is where I'm going to be. This is this. But that when you go back to this day, I have a collection of Warren magazines in really good shape that are in like my light bags or whatever. But then I just have these. I just pick them up. I find them. My wife is like a big antique person. I look and take whatever you want. And it's a million old magazines from the 60s and 70s, and then bingo, like Eerie or Creepy or something pops up in there. And just looking at the ads and stuff like that, it really is. I tell people, someone that's 22, maybe even 32 won't get it. When you get into your 40s and 50s, it's more than just reading the story.
Right. All right. So we got to take our next break. So stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite news show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Hi, my name is Brian Phillipson, co-writer on Weed Magic and co-founder of Bliss on Tap Publishing and home of Duel, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey. All right. I don't know where John went. He's wandering around. All right. You know what? Let's do this one. Every now and again, I find in the bowels of the warehouse some interesting stuff. So we've got Uncanny X-Men number 500, DF exclusive variant cover, signed by writer Matt Fraction. However, this particular copy has the signature is somewhat smudged. I don't know if you can see it from there. So we're just gonna. It's still a great read. So right where he starts the M, the little smudge there. But we're gonna just price it at $10 because it is damaged. Still a great read.
Nice.
If anybody's interested.
Who's the artist? I'm unfamiliar with this.
Didn't you just talk to him last week?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Right now.
I was just pestering Nick for a holiday special. Randolph the Green-Nosed Reindeer, the favorite pet of Evil Ernie. I don't know what this company's going to do if I stop coming here. Prosper. France.
You said it, I didn't. All right, so I wanted to mention to Alec. So Robbie was happier on Monday, obviously.
Oh my, yeah. We got lucky.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I'm actually kind of okay with the Dallas Cowboys win because it was Cooper Rush, and I'm actually rooting for him because the next two are division games anyway. I'm rooting for him.
Can we go back to comics? Can we go back to comics?
Go ahead, Nick. You're going to do it anyway.
Since John likes green so much.
Oh,
Of course, it's not his favorite green.
Oh, you better start
Sweet.
my invoice right now, sir.
Start game.
So this will be on Friday's show, as well as potentially some of these pages.
7 o'clock on the Experience. Nick begrudgingly parts with his massive collection of original art.
I'm terrible at this. Let's see if I can get it. So, and the best part, all Jim Starlin art. You know what? I'm
Nice.
nice. So, a few of these pages will be on Friday. And actually, you know, I talk about it being the Hulk, and then I've got some other. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
Banner to the Hulk. Am I making you green with
Envy.
envy? So
That's Jim Starlin?
tear a couple for us for old time. No, I'm not.
Make it affordable.
Make it affordable.
Nick was so excited to open this envelope, and
Yeah, really. Now I put these out of order. I'm an idiot.
people looking at Hulk stuff. Disney now has
Okay, let's see ones and twos. Clark is doing great at Weird. I mean, we think he has cancer, but he's doing better at least. Thank you for asking. Our cat was really sick, rushed to the ER the other night, so we're worried about him. But thank you, Ed Weird. You know, you try not to bring that stuff on the air, you know, but that's the community we have. So thank you very much. So ones and twos. Ones, tell me this is the page you want to see on Friday. Twos, tell me pick another page. So I personally like this, but I'll go with the ones and the twos. So Marcus, you can only vote one. Just want to throw that out there.
he puts up a 1 and a 2.
Marcus will put up 1, 2, and 3. So, and Weird says 1. So, slow show, huh? And I'm making it slower. Nobody else wants to vote. Okay, the ones have it. So, you guys are rocking it, though.
I wonder if it's
$53. You know what else I might put on there? You know what's cooler than the Hulk? What could be cooler than the Hulk?
She-Hulk?
How about, let me just see one thing. I actually have almost a complete issue of the Hulk. Okay, so this can't be it. I have almost a complete issue of Savage Hulk. So what would be cooler than the Hulk? How about, okay, this is not the one. How about I add in Hulk versus Blastar with Pip the Troll?
Oh, wow.
cool.
That on Friday. Nikki the Roach, yes. Nikki the Roach.
Put out the good stuff. Nobody wants to see this. They just want the Nicky the Roach cards.
Yeah, really. All right, so Pip the Troll. I think I gotta wait to put Hulk number 8 up because I should put up the entire issue, do like we did with Amazing Spider-Man number 7. So, but there is one more thing I wanted to show that, yeah, this would probably be a good one. But let me just see one more thing. Am I boring everybody? I'm boring everybody. I gotta stop boring everybody.
No.
Okay, how about
I remember the time Nick started first. I used to do the show with Nick a little bit in the beginning, and something said 1999, And of course, it was the year of the original art. And I'm like, oh, original art is not expensive at all. It's $20. I'll take this right now. And of course, I think it was like an $800 page.
You know what? Those are 2 cool pages. We'll do that. It will be. I will make them, relatively speaking, for Jim Starlin art, very affordable. I know. Come on. We gotta have a Thanos Pip the Troll. So
That one's sweet.
Pip the Troll.
Yeah.
Did he just name drop Nick, or does Nick not count? Pip the Troll, man, I'm not in a good place right now. There might be a new 4 connecting cover, Ronald. There might be, and it might be Jim Starlin related again. So tune in on Friday. But between now and then, these guys, you know what? You don't want them to sing for their supper, so help them by buying some stuff.
Do we want to do a book, or we just want to cut it here? Because Nick stole the show with original art, so no one cares about comics anymore.
Well, let's do the Dynamite 10 pack anyway. Let's get that up there. So Dynamite 10 pack reader set, random 10 random Dynamite titles, and it's just a retail of $40 or higher, $3.99 cover price or higher. And as always, it's thank you to our viewers. We got it for $5, so 50 cents a copy. You can't lose there. All right, so that is always available. And I know if it's sometimes the shipping on them because of the weight. So if you want to, and it's the only item you're buying on the show, we can ship it media mail, and that will really cut down on the cost of shipping.
That it will.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's do. Let me see here. Let's do another Dynamite cover. What do you think, John?
I was gonna say let's do a Virgin cover.
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen all them yet.
All right. You know what? We have we
have a few, right? So why don't we just knock those out a bunch of them in a row?
All right. Let's start with Vampirella Strikes number 5. Steven Segovia, Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. All right. So next up, we got Lady Hell number 2. Lucio Perillo, Ultraviolet Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40.
The Ultraviolet covers are just...
They're cool, aren't they?
I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah.
All right. And then we had Draculina number 6, Shannon Mayer Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40.
His art is so good. Someone said in the store today they thought that was the cosplay cover. Like that's how.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know, like the element of realism, like from a distance.
That
like,
Alex Ross kind of realism.
Yeah, it's really sort of like, wow, okay. And I was like, no, that's not the cosplay cover.
So, how was your trip?
The trip was good.
Where'd you go?
My wife had a great time. Her and her sister-in-law verboed a house outside of Asheville. They had a blast. Spa lady came in, did their nails, their nose, their toes, whatever. They had an awesome time, right? I wanted no part of that. I stayed at the hotel right in Asheville, 1 block from one of my favorite restaurants and 2 blocks from one of my favorite craft breweries. By like the second day, we didn't even leave the hotel because that craft brewery was served at the hotel bar.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, okay, so we just sat there. And at one point we were like, we were going to go do stuff like, oh, maybe we'll check this out or whatever. By 11:40, nobody was okay to drive.
Well, you were only 2 blocks away.
No, we had other stuff that we had planned on doing.
Oh.
And by 11:40 in the morning, nobody was okay to drive. So we were just like, well, I guess we're staying here today. So, like, you know, during the weekend, we watched college football. A buddy of mine is a big, like, degenerate gambler, better on the BetMGM app. So he was up and down and up and down. And every time he lost, we had a blast laughing at him. And then he would be like, oh, I really need him to score. So we would immediately begin rooting against that team to score. So he didn't win his bet.
Oh,
and we stuck him with a bar bill at one point, which is really neat.
Nice.
He'd lost 3 bets in a row, and we just all quietly went back to our room. And the last guy out said to the server, hey, can you drop the bill off at our table? We're going to go upstairs for a while. On the 7th or 8th floor, they have like this nice just outdoor deck. And we just very much needed fresh air at that point. And he's just there, and the bill comes. And of course, it's like 6 or 7 guys, so the bill is easily like $200. And he's already getting hammered on BetMGM, and he's like, "Thanks, guys." So anytime I have a chance to bury a friend with debt, I'm happy.
So when you're drinking, so the lesson here is when you're drinking with John, keep an eye out that he doesn't leave the table. Okay, say he's going to the bathroom because he may just disappear. You may be stuck with the bell. Okay, and what I know about John is he doesn't go to them cheap places, dude. Okay, he ain't going to a Cracker Barrel. Okay?
Yeah, no.
No, John only goes to the highest end.
I'll tell you why I don't feel bad about burying this guy. We talked about bachelor party stories. Mm-hmm. I awakened from my bachelor party with no shoes in Boston on the train. The last time I remembered, we were in Princeton. We had driven up from Cape May to Princeton, where we were supposed to continue. And then I don't remember much else. And I remember a lady nudging me saying, "Are you okay?" And I have no shoes on, and I'm on a train in Boston.
So Preston goes, "Give John a couple more name drops and I won't be driving either." Preston, we are up to 10. If you can drive after 10, wow, that's an amazing thing right there.
Salute, man.
Oh, my God. So Robbie, what I was trying to say was I'm okay with Cooper Rush winning these games because if he wins the couple more and Dak's coming back, that's going to create a huge controversy in Dallas. Think about it.
That it would.
Yeah, and they're all going to be miserable because you got to play Dak. You're paying him $40 million a year.
And how long do they still have him? They just re-signed him, didn't they, last year?
Yeah. What, 3 years with an option? I don't know. Yeah. But, I mean, you see where I'm going here with it, right?
Yeah.
You know, Cooper Rush, what is he making?
Nothing.
Okay.
Probably
But
nothing.
right now, if he keeps winning games, the guy's 2-0, isn't he? In his career, he's 2-0.
2-0 as a starter.
Yep. That's right. So should be interesting. So I'm actually, and their whole division games, Dallas has coming up, right? I'm pretty sure. They're going to face the Commanders and the Giants. Or no, they face the Giants first, right?
And somehow they're winning too. I don't know.
I'm rooting for Cooper because listen, it's a win-win for us either way, right? You're going to win one, you're going to lose one. When they're playing the division, right? So at this point, I'm rooting for drama and controversy in Dallas. Quarterback. When it's time for $40 million Dak to come back, who played like crap that first game.
He played real bad.
Triple B mentioned Shannon Mayer, Sirens Gate. I too am waiting for Sirens Gate. And the next time Nick pops in here with stuff, we should ask him when the publishing date is for Sirens Gate, if it's been scheduled yet.
Right.
Just based on that guy's cover work, I can't imagine what a whole book is going to look like that he's doing.
All right, let's do another vintage book. We have Tales to Astonish, number 94. And we have presumed grade of a 6.5, and we have one available for $69.
Nice.
Oh, thank you for correcting that, JD. All right, so Ed Weird says, "I'm torn because Cooper's from Michigan, so I want him to do well, but I hate the Cowboys." But Ed Weird, you see, you got to see the magic of what I'm saying. All right?
Oh, no.
All right, now I realize you may not be an NFC East fan, but for us, we're NFC East fans because of the oh, yes, was that 11, John? Did you drop an 11th name?
I don't think I did.
Okay. No, Ed Weird, he doesn't think Preston, he doesn't think he did. So Ed Weird, so we're gonna, it's a win-loss for us either way, right?
Shannon Mayer isn't a name drop. He's just a creator.
Right. Yes, that's true. John did not say
he's the creator that just did the Draculina cover you threw up there, and then.
So yes, so it's not a name drop because John did not actually converse with him, communicate with him in any way, shape, or form.
No, a name drop is when I
here it comes
about Dave Avalon and then Elvira, which came out.
Everybody relax. We're not gonna count that twice.
Oh, did we already do that one today?
Didn't you do Dave Avalon already?
I might have. I don't know.
I don't think he did.
No, I'm not writing names down. I'm just putting text down. That'd be too much writing. All right, so we're gonna call it 11.
If you are
Triple B, that's not nice.
If you're a fan of like humorous books, you should very much be reading the Elvira books. They're just fun. You know what I mean? There's no sort of pretense there, worried about continuity or any of that other stuff. It's just a book that you read it and you laugh. And the covers are very cool.
So Triple B don't appreciate that statement, my friend. Aren't you the Jets fan? They're all feeling cocky with the big comeback win. And weird, he name dropped Elvira though too on that one. Well, did you name drop Elvira? No, not really.
No, I haven't spoken to Elvira since she signed my book in North Jersey.
He just did it. Okay, he just did it.
Wait, hold on. When did that happen, though? I don't know if I'm going to count that one.
That was a while ago.
Judge is calling you out.
When did her book come out? March, I think. She did a signing at a bookstore right outside of. She did two. One outside of Homedale and one outside of Secaucus, at an independent bookshop, and it was a pretty long line.
All right, so Stevie B, I think, was a Jets fan. Joel is a Dolphins fan. So Triple B is the Packers fan. I'm sorry. You both got B in your usernames. I don't know, man. I'm just saying the Packers don't look too good. Aaron looks a little old today. Looks like he misses Devontae a lot more than people thought. So it looks questionable. Dolphins, I think Tua is gonna. This is his second chance at life, man. He might be able to prove something. I think he got a real bad start. The guy was really talented. Everybody thought he and Mahomes would be, same type. And you see where Mahomes is, and Tua just, a rough start. But how many touchdowns did he throw that fourth quarter? My God, it was ridiculous. 5.
I think in total he had 6.
Yeah, total he had 6. But he threw 4 in the fourth?
I think so.
It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So I'm rooting for him too, because Dolphins, more or less as an Eagles fan, you're ambivalent about the Dolphins. I kind of ambivalent about the Packers until Aaron Rodgers became the old guy. Then I root for all the old guys. Never liked Tom Brady. And then he crossed over into 40. And now I'm rooting for the old guy.
He's only halfway through his career.
Oh, I think he's done. His fight, obviously, the marital issues with Giselle are playing on his mind because he looks like crap. Good thing they got a good defense this year.
Yeah.
He doesn't look so good, man.
By December, you know what they're going to say? He's a miracle man. He never ages.
I would bet at the Sands that his line on the Super Bowl is directly relevant to whether or not he and Giselle get separated. Oh, yeah.
I saw an interview with her. I don't know what he said about.
So,
go.
So, and Weird says, did you see that fight in the Bucs Saints game? I did. It was. Yeah, it was. I believe it was a tied game. But yeah, that was. And Arians was on the field, so they're investigating that. Why was he on the field? Because he's not the coach anymore. So not sure what that was about.
I forgot he wasn't the coach. Triple
B should have stayed retired. Yeah, Tom probably should have. Giselle's pretty PO'd, that's for sure. But so far, it's been an exciting season. Going into week 3 here coming up, very exciting. Lots of comeback wins. I think like 3 or 4 games. The teams that came back had a less than 2% chance to win when they came back. Yeah, Tom should have stayed with Giselle. I would agree with that, Preston. I mean, I don't understand what the point is in unretiring, but we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Obviously, Mahomes is not missing Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill obviously has found a new home as well, where he's far more useful. Aaron Rodgers is definitely missing Devontae Adams. I mean, that's crazy. Okay, and Devontae's not doing much with the Raiders either. So that looks like that was a bad deal. But what are you going to do? It's a long season. That's for sure. I'm excited. Huh?
That is true.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, all right. So, here we go. All right. We got a good book for, let me see. Well, we got a good, let me see. Ed Weird says, I actually have hope with the Lions going to beat the Vikings. And I totally agree, Ed Weird. I am not a Kirk Cousins fan. Okay. That guy folds like a folding chair.
Cheap card table.
Yeah. I mean, he can't, any kind of pressure and that guy cracks. So no doubt. So Sirianni called a great game there. You put Kirk Cousins under pressure, he's gonna fold. All right. So we have this is a DF exclusive coverage. Guardians of the Galaxy #1. Dynamic Forces exclusive cover, and we have one available for $10. It's a great read as well. And I read something interesting about the Thor movie.
Love and Thunder?
Yeah. Somebody said that the Screaming Goats was inspired by Taylor Swift. I didn't read the article, but
Really?
I hated the goats, dude. I'm dead serious. The goats were so unnecessary.
The goats are getting their own series on Disney Plus,
which I'm not watching. I guarantee you. Okay.
You don't watch the
randomly, the movie's going on, and these screaming goats come out of nowhere with their screech. I couldn't stand it. It was horrible.
That's the way I feel when I'm walking through a store and they've got the radio on and Taylor Swift comes on. I'm like, oh God.
I got to read that article when I get home now.
The goats were only good on the first couple times, first one or two. After that,
it was humorous. Yeah, it didn't need to keep going on.
It's like that joke that just won't stop using once everyone laughs at it once.
Yeah, it was too much. I did not like the goats. I'm behind on everything. House of the Dragon, Rings of Power. But I told you after the first two, man, that was like really, I had to really muscle through those. I heard 3 was better.
Rings of Power really seems to be geared towards like the hardcore Tolkien fan. There doesn't seem to be a lot of access there.
Right.
Basically, it's like, have you read the Silmarillion? No, well then get out. That's like the vibe I get from that show. They had a big reveal in one of the episodes, I think it was 3, where they revealed that this kind of like this scraggly kid, minor character, is a Isildur, who starts the line that Aragorn is from, right?
Right.
The king. Nobody noticed or even cared. I mean, the few hardcores did, but most people were like...
Part of the problem is it's a little too long after the movies ended. House of the Dragon, I don't feel like it's been that long. And the universe is simpler. When you're talking about
the universe is simpler. Of all the kind of fantasy universes out there, if you go from high fantasy to low fantasy, to this day, high fantasy still at the top is Tolkien.
Right.
I mean, when you kind of have like every rock and tree has a story, that's pretty high fantasy. There's
right.
You know what I mean? And Michael Moorcock, the Elric story. You kind of read that and you understand why the height of that popularity was when everybody was dropping acid and being chemically altered when they were reading those books. Not that I'm judging, but I'm just saying, if you read those today in a stone cold sober state, you're like, wow, there's a lot going on here.
All right, so where Rubenstein says the Shadow of Mordor games had some crossover lore with this show, which I appreciate. There you go. All right, you know what? Let me say, Ed Weird says the Rings of Power doesn't have permission to do Silmarillion, so they can only loosely base it. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like this, like a Christopher Tolkien thing.
Okay.
From what I understand, Christopher Tolkien is like, from what I've been told and what I've read in conversations, he'll be in the room and some writer will be trying to put across their point.
Right.
And he'll just be like, no, that's not how it works. My dad wrote this stuff. I know you don't. So they pulled him out of the process. They gave him whatever credit or whatever they had to do. And now they're just sort of on their own. Yeah, really? The Silmarillion is, you know what I mean? They had to pull back. I heard a BBC thing with Christopher Tolkien, and he's almost as insane a warlock as Alan Moore in terms of like this being theirs. You know what I mean? Like Alan Moore created Miracle Man, which is one of the best things I've ever read at all. He is so difficult to interact with that when Marvel decided to do Miracle Man, they reissued it. And they had a few people kind of add some other stuff, but that was weak tea. But when they sort of did that, they didn't even use Alan Moore's name. It was the original artist, the original writer. That's actually how they put it.
Right.
And then, the artist and, all the other people. They gave Mick Anglo credit, which is a pseudonym for the British publishing house that Marvel Man first came from. Alan Moore doesn't want his name used. Anything that he does not absolutely control and do, He doesn't want any part of it. And when you listen to Christopher Tolkien in this BBC radio thing, it's the same way.
Really? This is new information to me. All right. So we got to go to our next break. And Preston, we will do the recap of the Rex cap as soon as we get back. Stay with us.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Hello there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crib. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out. There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Compa. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectables.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Hi, this is Trish Forcer.
And I'm Tony Fleece. We make the Image comic book Stray Dogs. You're watching The Experience.
Stevie B, we'll do the Rex cap before the shot, I promise. So no name dropping, John, until I'm finished with the Rex cap. They need a break, a breather. All right.
Yeah, so, that 3-minute commercial break is not enough to play catch up.
Just make sure you're sitting down. All right. So as always, we started off with Dynamite 10-pack reader set, 10 random Dynamite titles. Suggested retail of $40 or higher. And as always, thank you to our viewers. We have $5, 10 random Dynamite titles. We'll try to mix it up for you as always. Then we did, let's see, Invincible Iron Man number 500 signed by Matt Fraction. And we have one available, number 32 of 300 for $32. And Fraction's autograph is increasingly difficult to get. Then we had Uncanny X-Men number 500, DF exclusive variant cover, signed by Matt Fraction, but this one is damaged. So it's a signed comic book, number 3 of 32, for $10. The signature is slightly smudged in the front. Then we had Guardians of the Galaxy number 1, Dynamic Forces exclusive cover, and we have one available for $10. Then we had Charlene Harris, Gravesite number 1, signed by Charlene Harris, and is the best offer book starting at $10. Then we had Green Hornet number 4, Virgin variant signed by Mark Waid. It is a best offer book starting at $19.36. Then we did Captain America number 695, blank variant signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with Spider-Woman cover sketch. It will be in color as soon as Mariana finishes it. And that we have one available for $89.99. And then we had Invincible Iron Man number 600 blank variant signed by Joe Del Beato and Mariano Nicieza with Madame Web cover sketch. Suggest we have one available for $89.99. And I heard that the movie got the green light. It was that what was it?
What, the Madame Web movie?
Yeah. Who'd they pick? That actress from 50
It was
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
I think of her name.
Yeah, Don Johnson's daughter. So that should be pretty cool. All right, then we had Vampirella Strikes number 5, Steven Segovia Virgin cover. Suggested retail of $50, and we have one available for $40. Then we had Lady Hell number 2, Lucio Perillo, Ultraviolet Virgin cover.
That's so cool.
We have suggested retail of $50. We have one available for $40.
I was looking at the other covers during the break for Lady Hell. I couldn't pick, like if you had to just pick one,
right?
I couldn't do that.
All right, so then we had Tales to Astonish number 87, presumed grade of 7, and we have one available for $80. Then we had Tales to Astonish number 89. We also presumed grade of 7.0, and we have one available for $80. And then Strange Tales number 94, presumed grade of 6.5, and we have one available for $69. And Stevie B says, been distracted from the show to watch Aaron Judge's at bats. As he goes for number 61 to Ty Roger Maris. This has been an amazing thing to watch. As Aaron Judge has been closing in on that. I hate the Yankees, but I'm actually rooting for Judge to break it. Break the Yankee home run record and get to 62. No way he can really. I don't think he can catch Bonds at this point. I don't think there's enough games left, but certainly the Roger Maris record is within striking distance. Yes, you can. It's weird. Hold on a second. JD, if you could throw up the Charlene Harris gravesite number 1. There you go, buddy. She signed it right under the gravesite logo. And it is the best offer book starting at 10 at Weird. So let us know.
Isn't this the next thing that I saw that she's got in development?
I'm not sure.
I'll have to look. I could have swore Gravesite was the next thing that they sort of were like, because they were wondering what her follow-up was going to be to,
right.
HBO thing. I can't think of it now.
I'm lost.
I can't think
of
it.
I don't know.
I depend on you.
I can look it up quick, though.
Sorry.
True Blood.
Thank you.
Thank you, JD.
True Blood. And I guess because they were figuring because she's got a bunch of different things she was working on. And I'm pretty sure I saw Gravesite sort of, pop up as.
All right. So then you picked up a book during the break.
Oh, this book is so cool. Again, I can only assume Nick must have 2 or 3 of these. Because I would not.
Oh, wait. No, I'm not talking about the vintage one.
Oh.
I'm talking about the Superman one. Superman Year 1, Number 1, Elite Gold Signature Series signed by John Romita Jr.
In gold. It's a gold signature series.
And number 29 of 30. Or no. It should be number 7 of 30 is the one we have for sale. So that must be another picture. Suggested retail $99.99. It is it is $70 for number 7.
When we're done here, can we go back to Gravesite real quick? Edward, want you to see it again?
We did.
Oh, did we? Did I miss it? Okay.
Yeah, we did. All right. So, and then which Tales to Astonish was the one you picked up? Do you remember?
I got to see if I know the number. I should have looked at the number when I was there. 98.
All right. So next up we have Strange Tales number 98, presumed grade of a 5.0, and we have one available for $70.
Also known as Tales to Astonish.
Or Tales to Astonish, sorry.
Such a cool cover, too.
Tales to Astonish number 89.
That is a very cool cover.
I love all those older covers.
Specifically. Still with the use of the blue, I guess.
Yeah, it caught my eye. I sort of like when they do like single color covers, it's almost like the artist and inker don't have, You know what I mean? When there's no colorist or very little color, you've really got to kind of nail it. We've talked about that before with line work and the black and white stuff. Colorists can kind of help people out
Monochrome,
a little bit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Colorists can kind of be like, oh, I can help this out a little bit.
Right.
When you've just got a color that's blue washed, basically. Preston brought up a really good point about Dynamite doing Elric or Hawkmoon. I don't know. Yeah, right. Nick is claiming his own Tales from Astonish. Take that off the board. He's not selling that. The last I remember of Michael Moorcock work, I think First Comics was doing it, and before that, I think Pacific Comics was doing it. I don't know if Moorcock's work has been seen in comic book form for a while. I don't know. I don't remember seeing it like Marvel, DC, Image. One of like the bigger. I'm pretty sure Dynamite hasn't done it.
Right.
I don't know if there's an issue with the rights, or maybe they feel the material is, like I said, when you read it, it's good. It's very good, but it's a lot to get through.
Right.
It's dense. You know what I mean? It's not the kind of I just breezed through it real quick or whatever. Like I love Fred Saberhagen, and he had a series of sword books. You could read through one of those books literally in an afternoon. They were good. They were fast. Hawkmoon it takes you a while to get through that stuff.
So Stevie B says, I'm not a Yankee fan either, but the Chase has been getting plenty of attention in New York. I'm a Met and Jet fan because misery loves company. Then you must be a Nets fan as well.
No.
So you might as well
Go Nets.
But yeah, it's not just in New York, buddy. I mean, anybody that's a baseball fan, Stevie B is following. This hasn't been done since 1961 for the Yankees. So this is a significant milestone. Obviously, oh my God, I forget. Actor directed the movie 61 with Thomas Jane and comedian.
I don't know that one off the top of my head.
Okay, I got to jump in here and correct myself. Actually, this doesn't happen that often.
That doesn't happen ever.
No, the last time
10 drinks because this never happens. Billy Crystal, thank you, JD.
The last time Elric was in what we would consider a modern comic form, Chris Roberson, who I talk to all the time, actually, he did Doc Savage. He did a version of this for Boom Studios in 2011 and 2012. So it's been at least a decade since, this has been done. Not to be unkind, I don't know if there's enough there to make a publisher like Nick say, oh, let me write a big fat check for this, and hopefully people remember Elric from like the 70s and early 80s. I don't, you know what I mean? I just, certain characters and are stuck in time, right? Like in the 1990s, everybody knew who Dragon Riders of Pern and Anne McCaffrey are. You ask a fantasy fan now,
I love those series of books.
They barely know who you're talking about.
That's such a shame. That was a tremendous series of books.
Stephen R. Donaldson, the Thomas Covenant Chronicles. That was required reading if you were a fantasy fan in like the late 70s and early 80s. Now it's just blisteringly politically incorrect, and apparently the author, Stephen R. Donaldson, he's kind of one of these wackadoodles that lives up in the woods and gets on the internet and says all kinds of crazy stuff. No one is laying out money, but these were things where when I was young, when I was younger, you had to read these if you were that fan.
I got to say, you know what?
Sword of Shannara.
You just the Dragon Riders of Pern. You just brought up something that I hadn't thought about in a lot of years. I read that entire series, loved it. In fact, has anybody done a comic on that? They're morons if they haven't.
You know what? I'll tell you right now, the comic, I don't know, this almost sounds like the type of thing that Alec would look up and know, but
Preston, I would agree. And weird, I got to tell you, and I started out of sequence. I started reading it with the White Dragon.
I think a lot of people started with the White Dragon.
Yeah, I think that's when it really hit. It was in all the bookstores, whatever. And so Alec, I assume you've never read them, right?
No, I've been pretty most of the stuff we've been talking about for probably last bit, I'm not too knowledgeable on.
Well, let me say
Eclipse Comics did it in the 80s. That was the last time somebody shot.
Let me tell you, the books by Anne McCaffrey. There's a whole series of books.
Now her son does them, I think.
Does he?
I think she passed
I'm
away
gonna
or
start
she
look-
retired.
I'm going to start looking. Love It series. The premise was an amazing premise. Okay, so we assume from Earth at some point.
Well, it's a mix of science fiction and fantasy.
Right.
which
They
was-
sort of explained it this way. They implied it that these colonists came to this beautiful planet of Pern and began to settle. But every 30
Thread
years,
fell every 33 years.
So there was something in space.
Wow, I can't believe I remember that.
Yeah, right. Was it what, every 30 years?
I think it was every 33 years.
Yeah. So what would happen was there would be this stuff that comes from space, which was called thread, and it would fall from the skies and it looked like little silvery threads. And you couldn't let it hit the ground because once it hit the ground, it would just immediately spread and kill.
Yeah, it's like some kind of weird alien organism.
Yeah, right. So it would kill everything. And the only way to prevent it from devastating the planet was you had to catch it in the air, okay, before it hit the ground. So these colonists, everything was all honky-dory, everything's great, this beautiful weather, so many resources, and then boom, the first, thread fall happened, right? So they're all freaking out. Everything's dying. Trees are dying. The crops are dying. Animals. If it touches you, it burns through you. So they didn't know what to do. So they eventually developed or bred these dragons, which came from these flying lizards that were indigenous to the planet.
Yeah, and they turned them into Earth dragons.
Yeah, they turned them into Earth dragons. They would feed them this we have to assume was like some sort of coalish like substance.
There was some kind of rock or something. They got firestones, and that's how they came.
And the dragons would chew them before they went out to fly and battle the thread, and that substance would allow them to breathe fire. So the story starts when there are no dragon riders around, and Threadfall is coming, and they're panicking, they don't know what to do. And they've been on the planet hundreds of years at this point. So what they discover is this very special dragon, a queen, can travel through time.
Yeah, she teleport.
Yeah, so it was because the thing that the dragons could do, they could travel through.
They could teleport. This one could teleport
Right,
through
they could
time
teleport,
as well.
but there would be a real time in teleportation. So what they figured out was the farther you go, the longer the teleporting happens, right? And it's all when you teleport, you're on top of the dragon, and you can't feel, see,
It's a whole thing.
it's freezing.
Preston is right, though. It actually is time to introduce that to new readers. Not that we're like the used paperback show or anything, but I would tell anyone, go to a used paperback store. You can find this stuff.
It's got to be on Kindle.
Embarrassing. Oh yeah, but I mean, you have to kind of do more on Kindle. But when I was a kid, I loved paperbacks.
Oh, so did I.
There was a stack of paperbacks in my locker all the time, holding up the textbooks I was supposed to be using. You can find these things for next to nothing. Eternal Champion is another one. The Sword of Shannara. They actually tried about 8 or 9 years ago to do a Shannara season. I think it was on MTV when MTV was still doing television, trying to do it.
Right.
And it wasn't really Shannara, so it turned off the fans to that. And then everybody else was just like, this is kind of corny.
I read
it's
the
like
book.
Wish.com,
I didn't like the
Lord of the
series
Rings.
either.
They were right.
I really didn't. It was on the lines of kind of corny, like Hercules and Xena, sort of, had that kind of taste to it. I never knew they made comics, but
and that answers the question why Nick or another publisher doesn't find out who has the rights and drop a huge sum of money, because almost nobody remembers this stuff. Not to be mean, but Alec has almost no idea what we're talking about, right? No. He's the buyer.
Yeah.
What he's going to part with $5, $6, $7 a month. You know what I mean? For something that he has no idea about. And that's where these things sort of, this is where they sort of.
I highly recommend the Dragon Riders of Pern.
I tell anyone, you know what? A buddy of mine, his Myth series by Robert Asprin, that's another great one. A buddy of mine sprained his back or had a back spasm or something. And the doctor literally told him, lay on your couch for a week. That's what the doctor told him. I went over to some used bookstore, and I literally grabbed him like a shopping bag full of things. And if I remember correctly, I think there was absolutely some Myth series in there, but there was like a few other things. I found out like a year or two later when we reconnected and caught up a bit, he had gone out and found all the rest of those series. Because I grabbed like the first 2 or 3 from whatever.
Right.
The only thing he'd ever read was Lord of the Rings. He had no idea about any of this other stuff. And I think I got that whole bag of paperbacks for like $5.
I got to tell you, when I picked up the first one, I went back. I think the White Dragon was the third book in the series. I went back to get the first two, and then I was hooked. Dude. I was absolutely hooked. The premise was good. The writing was good. It dealt with all the right things. I can't even describe.
Marion Zimmer Bradley, the Darkover novels. That was another series where, not to so much make it about gender, but every female woman friend I had that was into fantasy was reading that. It was like required reading at one point. Marion Zimmer Bradley turned out to be another one of these people that sort of blurts out these wildly inappropriate opinions and stuff that you can think whatever you want, but if you're trying to sell merchandise, I don't know if I would necessarily say that. This is the Dilbert guy.
Right.
Dude, just shut up. Nobody, you know what I mean? It's like he can't help himself. I'm sorry, and I don't know if this guy seems to think Dilbert is Dick Tracy in terms of comic strips. Let's be clear, dude. Dilbert is what I looked past while I was reading Calvin and Hobbes. I understand Dilbert had about a 15-minute window of fame a while back, but that guy's attitude and Dilbert's actual value and worth, two very different things.
Ed Weird says Magic Kingdom for Sale sold by Terry Brooks is another amazing.
And that was the Sword of Shannara.
I mean, there are a lot out there. I mean, but for me personally, I was the one that really captured me, of course, were the Dragon Riders, and it was interesting how it happened. Yeah, how she thought everything out, like the hatching of the eggs, and how the baby dragon would choose their person, their rider. And it was very violent because people would get trampled. Kids would get trampled. Yeah.
She talked about speaking to NASA and other organizations about colonization in space and how this would work. And one of the things that was told to her was, well, if we find another planet with life, we're going to have to find a way to quickly adapt their life to like our ways. And therein was born the idea of there's like these innocuous, tiny flying little lizards zipping around with no big deal. And we sort of doing what we do in the future. It's genetic engineering, right? We grow everything. So basically we genetically engineered these things that were probably no bigger than parrots, into dragons large enough that people could ride.
Yeah, and the way she closed the series up was really cool too, because the way she did it was she went back, and by the time the beginning of the story, people on the planet had forgotten where they were from. They forgot they were from Earth and everything else.
Yeah, they had no idea that they were
right. And then
they're like another ship comes back at the end, right?
No. They discover a ship, the original ship that their ancestors came from a place called Landing, and then became the whole exercise of excavating it. And then there was a main computer that was still active, and they were learning because all of a sudden they'd forgotten a lot of knowledge. It became almost feudal in a sense.
That very much reminded me of the Star Trek episode where the computer ran the society, the classic Trek episode. I can't remember it now, where the computer sort of.
Oh, I think wait, the one with the war?
There was two. There was one with the war. Actually, there was more than two because there was the one with the war where Kirk gets amnesia, and then there is the one where it's.
Oh yes, the Indian
Revenge of the Archons. The Archon, it was all controlled by a computer.
The war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Alex, going
See,
there.
now if you're a Wizard of Oz fan,
I mean,
actually, you've had a ton of stuff from comics and Oz. Not only Zenoscope, but you've got a ton of stuff that's been done. TV shows. NBC a few years ago did something called Emerald City.
There's another series of books too.
Yeah, there's multiple series of books. There's a lot going on.
Logan's Run.
They've tried Logan's Run a couple times. Marvel, I think, had the rights originally. Right. Logan's Run's been tried a couple times. Unfortunately, I think certain science fiction doesn't hold up. Certain science fiction things that was a parable about ageism, right? Which was a big deal in the 70s.
Yes.
Now people are saying like 60 is the new 30. I don't believe that, but my point is, like, the idea of someone killing themselves at 30 years old is just, that's just not going to work anymore. Right. I can't see anyone, unless they do a significant change, and then it wouldn't really be Logan's Run. Certain things are just dated. I'm explaining why you don't waste your money on properties that nobody knows.
So basically, he didn't like the Dayglow Spider-Woman, Ronald.
I like the Dayglow Spider. Ronald said he's going to wait.
Yeah, Ronald wants to see it fully colored.
I might want to buy this one because I like the way it looks.
I was going to say, if Mariano didn't touch that, I'd be like, okay, thanks.
Right.
I mean, it's really cool that way.
So, but Ronald, something Starlin on the commission cover art on Friday.
Oh boy,
that one's gonna be cool.
All right. So where Rubenstein says
Andromeda, that's a magic name, man.
So where Rubenstein's talking about Andromeda strain in the comic.
See, I think there's a lot of comics that have been done now, which are like pandemic,
still partial to the flying monkeys,
pandemic comics or whatever.
Right. Logan's Run was a great movie, but I kind of agree with John. I don't know.
Like, as a fan, I would love to see Dynamite do all this stuff. As a friend of Nick, I'd be like, he's just going to lose his. No one's buying this but me, and I don't pay for the comics, so that's a terrible. You know what I mean? That's just awful. Eerie and Creepy, on the other hand, I would absolutely like to see Nick grab that.
That would be really cool. We're getting a lot more horror comics, but I still feel like I need more.
I agree with you. We talked about this, and everyone seems to be in agreement. My Twitter comic group, the Facebook group, Alec, our readers here, Robbie, he was just talking about that on his show. Right. He's like, man, we have a lot of good comics, horror comics. I would sure like a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, as you all know, Robbie's a huge horror fan.
Yeah, well, Robbie does like a horror movie show or something, which is cool. But yeah, I would love to see. And I've said this, I've said this out on social media. So, and I think I said it to Nick. I would love to see Dynamite do a horror book, not like, tongue-in-cheek horror where Evil Ernie or Army of Darkness, where it's scary, but it's like real horror. That's why I always bring up Eerie and Creepy. I have a bunch of Eerie and Creepy Warren magazines from back in the day, and I'll tell you right now, reading those at 13, 14, 15 years old. That's like the light left on, man. Some of those stories were just, they were, some of those stories were just, and yes, Preston, The Rook. The Rook is lesser known stepchild from Warren, but people who read The Rook, like old folks, The Rook was good stuff. And The Rook was done again by, I think it was maybe Dark Horse or Boom, took like a stab at it, and nobody knew who The Rook was.
So that was a great topic. You started up there, buddy. I hadn't thought about a lot of those books in a long time.
Well, I'll tell you what sort of kind of propelled that. Every time someone in our Facebook group talks about whatever, right? Somebody threw up 30 Days of Night, right? Someone will, because they know that I do the show, I talk to Nick, they'll be like, oh, that would be great for Dynamite. And I sort of don't ever want to speak for the company, but I know for a fact no one is buying these books. No one is buying these books. Alec has been quiet for 15 minutes. Nobody's buying these books. And he's way more knowledgeable than the average comic fan of his generation, right? So the person who just rolls in, grabs their Batman and leaves, it's not worth it. I think
because I'll be honest with you. Some of these, I think that it would bring in a new generation of reader. I mean,
I want that to be true.
Let's look at some of the stuff that's come out. Someone's killing the children.
I like what JD said. So AR.
I'm happy, like, with how I grew up. I was old enough to just basically get sent outside all day, read a lot of books growing up, and then we had pretty much the entire internet explosion. And I feel I got the best of both worlds.
Oh, you absolutely did. I like to use Alec as a reference because I see him, and I'm not just saying because I'm the right now, but I see him as like the middle of the market, right? You got like a bunch of old people and they're just looking for old people books or whatever. And then you've got a bunch of sort of casuals, which pick up a book and they don't even worry about like the second issue. They don't go back to. You've got Alec kind of here in the middle where he kind of understands what came from the past, reading the stuff now, has a good mastery of the stuff. You know what I mean? Is in the business, like as a, not just like, oh, I read Batman and then I went back to my job. And that's why I use him a lot of times for what should be getting published now. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see whatever. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's realistic. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Good luck to whoever won. Did anybody win the best offers?
No.
So thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks always, Alec, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, I didn't know more about a lot of those books.
No, but actually, no, you know what? That actually really illustrated the point. Because, like I said, I get asked this all the time, right? Wednesday Warriors is next?
I'm not sure.
JD, Wednesday Warriors is next, I think?
Nope, next up is the Jesse James sales show for one full hour.
We have a show, so let's get out of here. Catch Nick on Friday. Original art, tons of it. He'll weepingly give away. Rex and I have had a blast. We'll see everybody on Monday.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you again, guys.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.